What is up, and welcome back to Skill Diff, where we have not only differing opinions, but vastly differing skill sets, and not different hosts today. Beside of my awesome guest of honor, he's returned from vacation.
Pete Holifield back at it again. Honored to be in this seat and not the one who sat before me.
Whenever you're on vacation, you're still tuning in to esports, still watching everything, or you just catching some rays?
It's called a vacation for a reason.
Whoa, okay. Well, so on today's show, we're going to have a whole lot to talk about. Starting off with visa issues costing the Toronto Ultra probably an easy major. We've got the Falcons soaring high, the Vitality still trying to clip those wings. But first things first, I might have been wrong. Sentinels don't look bad. They might be the best team in America. Are Sentinels currently the best team in America? Are they currently the best team coming out of our region?
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Best team? I wouldn't say they're the best team. I think G2 still owns that mantle. They clearly still are the better team. Sentinels was able to squeeze in a victory there on that ascent. Beautiful start, by the way, with a 10-2, but 10-2 going into the second half, and what does G2 do? They claw it all the way back. I mean, we went all the way to the distance pretty much of the final rounds, and Sentinels was able to clean it up. As we said before, Sentinels is a good team. I sit here and watch last week's episode, and I watch you and CJ both clown on Sentinels. Talking about Zek and how, he's a young player, came up, watched him grow. Don't even root for the man. Here he is going to Toronto. Who was saying that they were going to go to Toronto this whole time?
It
was
somebody.
Me. Sentinels was going. And then we're not even going to talk about the 100 Thieves.
Where are they at?
Say, well, they're sitting at home, which they will be.
They're going to Toronto?
But that's what I'm saying. G2's got some weaknesses.
Sure.
And I think they definitely showed it over this past weekend. Their loss to Sentinels, while close, that one was expected. The 100 Thieves one, not so much expected. I think Sentinels is going to be able to go far. This matchup against MIBR is going to be a tough one for them. If MIBR plays the way that they've been playing, I think it will be a tough one for Sentinels, but I can easily see Sentinels bringing this in, having a rematch in the grand finals against G2 when they claw their way through that final bracket down at the bottoms. And I think they could be the #1 seed going into Toronto. Easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think going into this, G2 has looked really, really strong. They've been on the backs of Jajamo and, a lot of outstanding, flashy plays. But in that series, we just didn't see it. We got to see Trent. Trent showed up. Might have had a tech pause that helped him out a little bit there in the middle, but showed up, came back, and slayed out, and he was really carrying that lobby. But I think this kind of leans into some of the credibility of what you were saying is that I've been a big proponent of G2 has been a team of superstars that play like individuals. But Sentinels were a team of maybe not as highly rated superstars, but they played as a team. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. They didn't get caught over rotating. They didn't try to play hero ball, so to speak. And, they did look fundamentally really good. Now, I do think that you play that series back 10 times, I'm still probably taking G2 in 70% of those. And I do think that they might find each other again down in the losers bracket finals. And I still think G2 probably comes through. So I think all in all, it's a good game. It's a good series. And Sentinels does look really good. But my fear, which will lead into our next subject, is if Sentinels are the best we got into America, I don't know how it's going to shape up. Because that team had some vulnerabilities, had some weaknesses. I don't think they have the star power of G2. But if G2's playing like that, you could argue Sentinels are a little bit better. And, at the end of the day, I think that makes the U.S. look a little bit more vulnerable, which is a little bit suspect in my opinion.
A little bit more vulnerable. No, I think it makes them look that much stronger. G2, we held as the kings of America. Took T1 all the way to Game 5. Should have won that series in Bangkok. But Sentinels, just as strong as them.
Sure.
Easy. 100T, just as strong as them. Okay?
I don't know about that.
If they weren't called 100 throws, they would definitely be here today. But that team that Sentinels is going up against, MIBR, have been looking incredibly hot going in here. So, MIBR, first time ever qualifying for an international tournament. Is Brazil actually the ones above America now?
It was made in Brazil. I did at the beginning of the season. I thought we were going to get to see a little bit more out of Crew, Loud, and MIBR, and Crew didn't pan out. And Loud, they weren't even in the conversation. Let's be honest. They did have, I think they had the most amount of maps won other than G2, or most amount of rounds won, but they still sat on a bagel. So that's unfortunate for them. They did play really good. I think Crew looked pretty good throughout the season, but man, about 5 rounds in, throwing a pistol, and then after that, they checked out versus MIBR. Then they checked right out of the tournament about 15 minutes later, it felt like. But no, I do think Aspass on MIBR looks really, really good. altogether, they've been clutching up. They've been. I don't feel like their competition's even been really that hard. They've not seemed like they've gotten stressed. They've not seemed like they've gotten troubled. I was really excited to watch them play G2, but then obviously Sentinels kind of snuck in there. So I do think that's going to be a really good series. I don't know how familiar with each other those two teams are, so it'll be a little bit exciting to kind of see, a fresh take on two teams. They were in different brackets throughout the regular piece, so we'll get to see kind of what that matchup looks like. So it's going to be exciting. I candidly think MIBR is going to beat Sentinels. I really want to see MIBR versus G2. I think that'd be a better series, as it were. But we'll still probably get there. It might be on an international stage.
Yeah, no, you'll see MIBR versus G2, but it'll be in the lower finals after Sentinels beats them and moves on to the grand finals.
Okay.
MIBR, I'm going to give them some credit. I have been a little bit on my haterade for MIBR this whole time, but I'm an American lover, okay? I love me some American teams. USA. All right, but Ospas has been doing good. I still think he is a little bit past his prime. I know, I'm sorry. I think the credit needs to go to people like Cortese, Verno, Artisan, the rest of the squad, because they have been dominating. Anytime Ospas has been falling behind or not quite able to play to his prime, so to say, they've been there to back him up every step of the way. And this is a team with 3 rookies on it. So it is fantastic that, 1, it's their first international tournament, and 2, they have 3 rookies on their team. I mean, it's basically like an underdog story. So I know Brazil's hyped for them. I think it's great that they're going there. Obviously, I'm going to pull for Sentinels. I'm going to pull for G2. I picked them as the 3 seed going in, but I do think that on an international stage, they stand the chance just as much as Sentinels or G2 does. Because when they're playing the game at their leadership, untouchable. If Ospas is on Jet, if they're playing Icebox, forget it. You're not winning. That is their map.
I do think they got some really strong map picks, so that makes it pretty exciting. I also think that it gets to be a little bit kind of fun and tit for tat in these kind of moments, because you could argue that this team is still trying to figure it out. You got rookies, you got people who haven't necessarily gelled together before. They've not played on the international stage before, so you're going to love the limelight or they're going to hate it. But no matter what, we're going to figure it out real quick. The next thing we wanted to hop into, though, is you look for the finals. Who do you think your 1, 2, and 3 shakeup is about to be representing the Americas? And then, do you think that 1, 2, and 3 is 1, 2, and 3 international, or you think there might be some other dark horses out there?
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. We've talked a little bit about this before as we were just yapping, but I think I'm gonna lay this out right here. We got MIBR versus Sentinels coming up. Sentinels is taking that one to move on to the grand final.
Woo.
Okay.
8.
Now we got in the lowers right now. We have G2 and EG. Sorry, EG. G2's taking that one. I'm expecting that one probably be a 2-0. The MIBR Sentinels one, I'll call that one 2-1. Sentinels. This one's gonna be 2-0. Then it's gonna be G2 MIBR. G2 is going to take down MIBR. Then it's going to move to the finals, where it's going to be a rematch, G2 and Sen for number 1 seed, where I think that Sentinels is going to take them down again just to prove the dominance that, once again, they will be the number 1 seed. And I think that's best for them going into Toronto. Now, there's a couple of tough teams over there in the EMEA and stuff. Vitality's looking fairly strong. Obviously, you have EDG in the China region, Pacific regions, T1, obviously. It's going to be tough for them, but I think with the caliber that we have here in America, any one of these teams, 1, 2, or 3, are easily capable. Easily capable of taking Toronto.
Sure. I think that my list is going to be almost completely inverted. I'm going G2 at the top, winner, chicken dinner from the bottom side. I had that initially, just we had some different teams making it. I think the Sentinels losing to MIBR, losing to G2 in the rematch. And then so it's going to be a G2, MIBR, Sentinels coming out of America. But actually, I think given the way the international stage is set up right now, I kind of lean towards, I feel like MIBR might be the rogue horse out of our region, just because nobody's really got to see them, play with them, deal with them, or interact with them. But, like you said, there's rookies on that squad. It's a fresh take. I think the world was kind of preparing to play G2, and everybody kind of wants G2. Like, I mean, I know T1 won, and they're kind of like the defending Masters champions, but you get the feeling that it's everybody looks at G2. They kind of held that to the high standard. That's currently the team to beat. We got to go through them in some capacity. Sentinels got a chance because they're sneaky. They did kind of throw a little bit in Masters once, so I'd like to see them not be able to do that. So I think it'll be exciting. I want the USA to win. I really do. I do not want this.
I mean, G2's already took down MIBR, so MIBR is going to do perfectly fine. but they're not going to outshine our boys in the red, white, and blue now.
That's true. That's unless there's a tech pause.
The ultimate icing of the team.
100%. That today is going to be our teardown segment brought to you by Power GPU. We want to hop in and talk about this, mostly because it is insane that this happens on a pro stage. Like, it's, in the nicest way, it is completely unacceptable. There was a point in time during the Sentinels versus Cloud9 match, over the span of 96 minutes, we had 5 rounds played of Valorant. If we go home and you play a competitive lobby of Valorant, you might get 2-3 games in 96 minutes. We got an entire game of Counter-Strike while we were waiting on the series to get past round 5. It is absolutely insane. We even had the Carmine Corp host kind of talking about, hey, we don't really necessarily want to share broadcasts with this stuff anymore. If it's going to continue to be like this, we're getting made fun of. I think he might have used more colorful language than that. And then you also saw that they actually postponed the rest of the matches to try to reset the equipment. So that's kind of where I want to pass the question over to you. Like, obviously this is unacceptable, but what's the solution here? How do you fix this? Is this like a damaging stain on Riot? Because it happens in both their games, not just Valorant. It also happens in League.
Yeah, I think it's embarrassing. I mean, like, is that what you want to be known for? The esports is that anytime you have a game, you're going to have to extend it by 30 to 40 minutes because of tech pauses. I mean, I've heard pros complain before in the past through tweets or on their streams or whatever about old equipment and things like that, which it just seems kind of ironic coming from Riot. I mean, they are one of the leaders in the esports. I mean, League of Legends is a gigantic game. Valorant is slowly working its way up. Like, they have the money to put into this. We've seen the studio. Look at the floor. I mean, they have put tons of money into their studio, but yet why are we having pros complain about equipment there being old? Can we not spend a couple extra $1,000s to make sure our PCs are up to date? Or maybe you can get your developers to like take a look at Vanguard and wonder why it's making PCs run like crap. I get it's great to have this kernel level threat or anti-cheat to be able to like prevent cheats, but I mean, there's still cheaters in Valorant. Now, is it to the extent of something like Valve's old anti-cheat or like
CS.
easy anti-cheat? Yeah, it's definitely better than those. You're not gonna run that many cheaters, but it's like it's literally bricking people's PCs. When Vanguard first came out, it was destroying stuff. So it's like, if that's causing your tech pauses, we need to take a look at that. If it's the equipment, just buy some new equipment.
Yeah.
And like, why are players getting up and leaving? Over the last weekend in Valorant, multiple matches, players were getting up and leaving during the match.
Sure.
What are they doing?
I mean, I
Can
think
they not go without a potty break for 30 minutes?
Hey, there's some guys on Twitter that thought it was weird that Trent went away and he came back and started beaming. I'm not saying that's the case, and all jokes aside, but like, it is funny that joke can be made in that context. And like, when you do have players leaving, it does look bad. It looks unprofessional. It looks like it's unwarranted because like, and I don't fault the players in those cases because like, if it's that C9 Sentinels match, if I think that I'm going to be playing for an hour and a half, and then after that I'm going to get a break to go get some water, use the bathroom, whatever, and we waited an hour and a half to get 5 rounds in, we might be 2.5 hours into the first game. So it's like, it's tough because like you don't want to blame the players for stuff like that. But to me, it's like you said, it's peak unprofessional. If it's an equipment thing, you make the game. Like, this isn't Counter-Strike. At the end of the day, ESL, Blast, PGL, they don't control Counter-Strike. They don't make Counter-Strike. They don't program Counter-Strike. So they might not know that this specific AMD processor is the absolute best thing that Counter-Strike is developed for. They might not know that. But if you're Riot, you control the whole system. Like, it is yours. You could say, hey, every PC has to have this GPU, this processor, this RAM, this update, this patch, this, that, or whatever. And it's like, you control all of these factors. And it seems to me that, like, it almost feels like they don't care. And it almost feels like they're at a point where it's like, we're so big, we make so much money off skins, like, it's whatever, they'll keep playing. But then as a viewer, it's like, a hardcore fan isn't going to care as much. But the casuals, the new people coming in, the industry at scale is looking over, being like, what on earth are we doing? This is crazy. And, if I'm a player, I'm upset about it. If I'm a co-streamer, I'm upset about it because, like, it's a bad look for everybody at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's just the crazy part to me is that when you even have the casters and stuff memeing on broadcast about the tech pauses. I mean, I feel like then we've lost the plot because before you think the casters are like, well, they're not allowed to say anything. If there's something fishy going on or something, they have to be, objectively unbiased or something.
Sure.
And obviously, usually pro the production and studio that is hosting the event. So it's like, but they're making fun of Riot themselves. And like, are they just okay with that? Is it just become okay to be the meme of tech pauses?
It's probably at this point a passive aggressive, like, hey guys, it's getting old, bro. Like,
yeah, like they have to be doing something. I can't see a world where they're just letting this go by. We're literally postponing whole matches, and they're just sitting there like, oh well, dude. Next time, hopefully, it won't happen.
And I do assume part of this is probably going to be as a result of they do have both League of Legends and Valorant, and so those games probably are optimized reasonably for two different specs. And having looked at the games, it's like, you know, when you play a game like League of Legends versus a game like Valorant and Counter-Strike, if in League you have a weird FPS fluctuation or something like that, if it's a pure hardware problem, you're going to notice it in team fights, but it's going to happen way more intermittently. But a game like Valorant, dude, stuff is happening all the time. So if you're getting weird frame drops during the middle of every gunfight because some dude's using the Dragon AK, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, this is crazy. But again, you're the developer. You know this. You understand these components. You should have figured this out in QA. Like, this is stuff that is expected to happen in a public lobby, not a professional tournament to qualify for major events.
Yeah, I mean, because the Riot just needs to stop giving you fuel to make fun of them.
I agree.
It's like every time I come in here, it's something about trash talking Riot, and I'm over here slowly trying to defend them. But it's like, I can't defend a 45-minute tech pause in the middle of a game where I can go play a whole game of Counter-Strike and come back, and the game is still sitting exactly where I left off. It's like I paused it and resumed it.
And it could have been any better.
Nowhere.
As soon as the Call of Duty finals ended, we all swapped over to watching the VCT, and literally the first round of VCT tech balls. And it's like,
yeah, it just instantaneously. It makes no sense to me. I just don't understand it.
100%. But speaking of, the next subject that we want to talk about is a real sport. It's a real game that didn't have real issues.
It's a real sport. It's a real sport.
Is CDL had its major 3 over the weekend. Talk of the town going into it, though, wasn't CDL at all, wasn't about actual gameplay. It's the fact that one of the top 3 favorited teams going in it, their star-studded mascot of a player, wasn't allowed to come off of Visa. Beans was unable to participate due to Visa issues, so from Omit on loan, they picked up Mercules. So now going into the event, you think they got a sub, they're not going to be able to do anything. That wasn't the case. Mercules came out, looked incredible. They actually ended up making a deep run into the tournament. It does kind of suck that you go from tournament favorites to basically, you know, being like gimped from the beginning with a stand-in who you basically never played with before. But like, you know, hats off to Mercules. But real quick, is he getting picked up this week? Is he going to be playing this weekend on another team? Like, what are your takeaways?
I think it's definitely plausible. He definitely did do really good, and it's definitely an interesting one because like I had high hopes for Ultra as well going in. Become a fan of Beans over here recently, and it's unfortunately we did not get to see his walk out onto the stage.
Totally.
I mean, I think that's the highlight of the CDL, and they go into that first match against Miami. You're going up against the home team. All right, it's their crowd, their tournament, and they get defeated. And it's like you going in there and Mercules, not his best showing right there. It's their first game, maybe a little nervous here. We're on the main stage, home team. Out. Yeah, it's like, oh, this is just Ultra's out. They're done for, donezo. Yep. But then they make that run. They beat the lag mates, they beat Roker, and they beat the Boston Breach. Boston Breach honestly been looking pretty good. Yeah. They take them down no problem, and Mercules is starring out through all of those.
Yep.
I think he had a 1.08 KD over the whole series, over everything, every single match, like incredible.
Yep.
But Joey Deceives also same right. Both of those back to back, they're just dominating both of them. Unfortunately, they do fall to the Surge, but I mean, it's the Surge. I think Mercules definitely could get picked up on the team. I mean, honestly, I don't know where he would go. They just did the roster mania. Everybody's swapping. Yep. So it's a little late for that. Maybe he could join one of the lower teams. Honestly, I'd be fine with him going to Optic.
I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt right now. I mean, they look like they need something.
I mean, you know me. I'm not the biggest fan of Skies. Maybe, he had this little bit of time. Maybe we swapped them in.
Totally. And I mean, to me, the most interesting piece is like he kind of filled in. They had to play around him. It was very obvious that like, you know, Insight and a few others were like they were playing a little bit of different roles to trying to comp for him. And even in that first series we came out against the Heretics, like. He was top fragging, most kills and most hill time, and they won that opening hardpoint. I mean, he did look really, really good. But I also super respect Joey Deceives. He's basically from the rip saying, like, hey, we got to fill in. We're able to do this. Wait till we have the real thing. Putting the confidence back in Beans of like, hey, buddy, we're not swapping you out or anything like that. Don't fear that. So I think I think that was a really good gesture from him. But I think he should be picked up for sure. I mean, if you're a middle of the road team right now, if you're a C9, an Optic, even a Roker, like I'd be considering it because at the end he's going to be sitting on a challengers roster. Like he's not in the league right now, came out cold. But we saw this earlier in the year with Neptune. I mean, the coming in cold, people shouldn't be afraid of. It seems like you should be afraid of picking up somebody else in this league because, like, you get Caesar, who wasn't looking good, Skies, still not looking good on Optic. You get Kenny, who wasn't looking good on Optic, still not looking good on Rocker. So, I mean, I don't know. We've got to start going to challenges for talents. That's all I'm learning. Unless you're the Carolina Royal Ravens.
Or other games.
Yeah, yeah, maybe that.
It was an interesting one for sure. And I think he definitely will probably find the home. You have a showing like that on the main stage, it's definitely going to have some teams piquing their interest. But now Major 3's over. We got one more major to go before champs. It's right around the corner. And who's hanging on barely right there in the 8th spot in the standings?
That green wall hadn't fallen yet, baby.
Wall. It's the race for the 8th. Do we think that the green wall is going to be able to hang in there, hold that 8th spot?
I think if we look at their upcoming schedules, it's pretty interesting because I have it wrote down. It's basically Cloud9, Rocker, and Optic. Cloud9 is going to be facing Vegas, Ultra, Atlanta FaZe, Miami, and LET. That is a really hard block of schedules. If they get 2 wins out of that, that's pushing it. Rocker's going to have Vegas, Gentlemates, Ultra, Carolina Royal Ravens, and the Surge. You know, realistically, they could probably pull 3, maybe 4 of those. And then you look at Optic, they're going to have the Surge, Boston Breach, Carolina Royal Ravens, Gentlemates, and Toronto Ultra. Optic definitely have the easiest slate. It favors them the most for sure. But then you got to do good in that bracket. 1 win out of losers basically gets you 15 points, and you'll get 30 from each one after that. So it's tough. Right now, I'm leaning towards Kenny's going to get his revenge. I am curious. I think there's a dark horse if Optic makes a change or any of those teams make a change. I think there's a chance Mercules does get picked up by one of those 3. I think, unfortunately for Cloud9, you got screwed over in the bracket and had to play Atlanta FaZe in the first round of losers. And then, I mean, you're about to have to play the FaZe, the Thieves, the Ultra, the Heretics, which are arguably 4 of the top 5 teams in the league. And then, yeah, you get Vegas, but, I mean, dude, Vegas doesn't even look that bad right now. So it's like nothing feels guaranteed. I mean, there's a chance they could go 0-5, which is brutal. So I do think my bold call, Optic, will not make champs. I think Rocker get him in the end. Kenny gets his revenge and slides into that 8 slot.
That is a bold call there. I do not think you're going to be making people happy with that one.
I don't think so.
That's for sure. I actually, as much as I've been hating on the green wall, I think they are going to maintain their A spot. Sure. I think they definitely will make it the champs. The road is semi-easy. They should have no problem pulling out a couple wins against those teams. They did okay. Well, okay is definitely not the right word to use for what they did for Major 3, but hey, they beat the Falcons.
They did, and they
in a dominating fashion.
Correct, they did, and they don't have to play them, so it's not a free win. So,
but it's just funny because you're just talking like the Falcons are looking good or whatever. It's like when did they drop the Optic?
They did
because they were before that looking dominant in hardpoint.
They had beat Optic,
but I ranked my top 8 for you here. It's a nice little fun thing because I know
let's see it
how much you love, and I think you'll love this ranking. Okay, this is how I foresee it in order, not points wise. This is how I just rank every team in top 8. Okay. Atlanta FaZe number 1.
Okay, I love it.
Even after that performance, that's
fine.
They
throw in the middle.
LA Thieves number 2.
That's okay.
Yeah, I know you've been in that one. This one's gonna get you. Surge is number 3.
I don't love this.
Ultra is number 4.
That's
Miami is number 5.
Okay.
Boston Breach number 6, followed by the Roker, followed by Optic at number 8. I'm still holding them in there in the top 8. I think they're definitely worthy of that. I think they will make champs, like I said. I think their team is fine. The more they play together, the longer goes this on. Shotzi's was looking a lot better. I think the more teamwork they have, I think they'll definitely be able to hold on to that champ spots. They're not winning anything. Yeah. They're not coming in winning champs. They're not winning Major 4, but
I do think from a power ranking standpoint, that's pretty good. I think unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which camp you're in, the Carolina Royal Ravens got enough points early on where I think they're going to be pretty safe to move out of here.
Yeah, that's. But this is why.
Skill
totally. Wise, so that's why they're not on there.
100%, 100%. I mean, yeah, I agree. The only thing, I mean, I'm obviously putting the Ultra in a little bit of a different spot, but I do think, honestly, I think the top 4 teams are really close. I think the 5th team, which I think is the Heretics, is still pretty close. The problem with FaZe is FaZe does this. At times, they look like the most dominant team in the world. Nobody can be close to them. And then at times, like we said before this event, I said it feels like this is the middle of the year where they start to throw stuff and they just get sloppy and they don't care. And You need them to peak come June, July. That's the only thing that matters. You need them to peak then. And I hope they get that in their head, because if not, those next 4 teams are good. These are professionals. It's not going to be easy to beat the Ultra. It's not going to be easy to beat the Heretics. It's not going to be easy to beat the Thieves. But speaking of problems, if we switch gears over to Counter-Strike, over the weekend, we got to see an incredible run by the Falcons, okay? Falcons look like, hey, we're on a new team, new us, new year, we're rolling. All the way till they found Vitality in groups. And then they got shot down. But then they came back, so they played Vitality in the grand finals. They might have should have won. It's possible.
It's arguable.
It's arguable. But the question is, are the Falcons going to win an S, the keyword here, S-tier event this year? Not a mid-major, real major. Or it can still be an S-tier event. There's not that many majors. But you think Falcons are getting a W this year or no?
So, like, we think they're going to get a W at, like, Dallas?
Yeah, maybe Dallas, maybe an Astana.
I think it's definitely plausible that they get a W. I mean, the way they played against Vitality was good. And this is just like their first showing here together with Monacy. It's looking pretty dominant. Nico did better than he's done in the past couple times.
Yeah. Wasn't missing
that's not a slight to Nico.
Sure.
Sometimes he does underperform as for the others. But I think, especially if they're going to make any more roster spots, I know there's the rumor about them potentially getting the other player, but then Spirit's saying otherwise, so we don't really know about that. But it's like Falcons have this tendency to want to buy their success.
Yeah, money can buy you happiness.
Money can buy you happiness. And it can buy you
Monacy.
wins. But can it always buy you wins? How about those New York Yankees? I think their philosophy is like pay for the best too. But
27 World Series, that's a lot.
That is a lot. They didn't win this last one, though.
This is true. The team with the bigger payroll did. That's the scary part. But, I mean, Vitality's a super wealthy squad, too. I mean, they've got a...
Oh, no, for sure.
They've got a star.
I mean, they had the president backing them up, giving them the little high five. No, I mean, they played dominant, but Vitality, just Zywoo and stuff is on another level. And Apex, although he didn't have the best performance in this tournament, he's a good leader, and he will lead that team to victory. And like we talked about a little bit earlier, I didn't like the draft. I didn't like the map picks.
Sure.
I feel like the ban, I feel like they should have banned Inferno. I feel like they were a little egotistical, thinking they could take them on Inferno because of their previous showing, and they just got completely smoked. But that shows the Falcons' determination that, as we talked about earlier, is like you get 13-2 and then you come into it and you're hanging in there and you beat them on Dust 2. That's another map that, like, Spirit, the king of Dust 2s, Vitality was able to take them down on that. And now Falcons turn around throwing it on them. So at the end of the day, as we like to say, Falcons definitely can win a major tournament. It could possibly beat Dallas, but I think Vitality did play a little bit sloppy and was able to clutch it up in the end. I still think they are the better team overall consistently wise.
I think we're going to see with this Blast season that's about to come off, we're going to probably get to see Spirit versus Falcons in the end.
That's going to be a good one.
I think it's going to be a showdown. I mean, I definitely think the Falcons have put themselves in that T3 category. I think now we're no longer in a T2 era. We're in a T3 era.
And what about Mouse?
They're not there. They're in the car waiting on the others to finish. And I think this is, I think that's been the case all year. It's just, for whatever reason, Mouse have Spirit's number. They're able to beat them, but then, man, does Vitality understand how to play that team. So it's good, though, because this could be the first time really in CS where there's 3 teams that can win anything at any time, and we wouldn't be surprised. So that's why I'm all in. Falcons are going to have a win this year. I think they're going to have multiple wins this year. I mean, they might even be able to sneak the major, because my thing is, at the current stage and how much these guys have been able to play together, sure, Monacy and Nico have a big pass, but Monacy doesn't have a big pass with the other 3. So they're meshing together so good so quickly. If you're Spirit, you got to be hoping, hey, I hope it's not a 2-horse race that we're cut out of.
I think that's the funny thing, too, is Spirit, it feels like they've been gone for so long. I forgot how they even play the game. Yeah. I mean, one thing we do know
that Donk is
that Donk is going to come out there and get a couple kills. Yeah. So Vitality, winning that one, they have completed a Grand Slam. They have won 3. They won ESL Pro Season 21, the Katowice in Melbourne, completing a Grand Slam.
They want a blast in the middle.
Yeah, with the blast in there. It's a good one, too. But those 3, in particular, feel a little bit more important.
Sure.
Is this the Vitality era? We've talked about it before on the show. Is this, we just said Falcons could do it. Dallas is coming up.
I think that if they win the major, and they're able to win the overwhelming majority of the events this year, I think it's doable. If they win at least this major and probably the fall major in, I think, December, and then they win the majority of the S-tier events, I definitely think it feels like that kind of era. And we've not seen that since we got peak Astralis. I mean, Navi during the COVID time was weird, just because events weren't happening on land. You couldn't travel. Like that whole era was a little bit odd to me, but I think it's reasonable. This is how it starts. I don't think we're there yet. I think this is, when you write the history books and you start telling the tales and you're leading into the intro of the story, this is the intro for sure. We are in the beginning phases of it. You get a new player, you get ROPS, you come in, a little shaky in the first tournament, drop to EF. Since then, first couple tournaments were a little bit close. Then you started beating the snot out of mouths in the middle, and then the Falcons are going to get a little close, and then if they start beating the snot out of Falcons, beating the crap out of Spirit, and they kind of start hands in all these squads, then it becomes like, okay, yeah, we're here. I do think this is, and this is not to detract from the legacy that would be a Vitality era, but I think this event did kind of show that this is an unbelievably good team. I think ZywOo is a really good player, but I do think, in my mind, this kind of starts pushing him a little bit more out of the GOAT conversation, just because, like you said, Apex didn't have his best event, but man, when you needed 2 kills, he got them. And ZywOo had some unbelievably clutch moments, but he got backed off the op in that last game. Like, you could tell he was a little bit out of his element. Monesi, bless his heart, he was at least dying on his shield. Like, he's at least dying with the op in hand. So it doesn't feel like the Simple situation. It doesn't feel like the Spirit situation where it's like, if Spirit wins, it's on the back of Donk. During the Navi era, like, Simple had 1 in his name and was 1 in the game. Like, that was the saying, right? But like ROPS right now is playing incredible at times. Flames plays incredible at times. Apex does unbelievable stuff. And this could be arguably the best team we've seen since Astralis. I think Astralis was similar in the sense that they were an incredibly well-rounded team. This feels like an incredibly well-rounded team. Nobody's been able to crack them yet, but we probably got to have a 50% win rate throughout the rest of the year to give you about a 75% win rate on the year total to be able to say, like, okay, this is the era of Vitality. So start of the story, but I don't think we're there yet.
Interesting. I can't believe you're going to put that ZywOo hate on there, like right in the middle.
I think he's good.
Hey, the way you talked about it, you pushed him away from the GOAT conversation.
Yeah.
My man went plus 28 in that whole series.
Yeah.
Top of his team. Incredible clutches. And
the,
that's not to take away from ROPS.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of 1v1 scenarios. The only reason Vitality even won the game was because of him.
Yep.
And, it's arguable that maybe he could have got the MVP for that one. But, I mean, come on. ZywOo had like a crazy 1v3 clutch.
It did.
There's a lot of scenarios in which he came out on top. It doesn't matter if he's got an op or a rifle. That's how
he was
dual-suited he is.
And
Monzi over here dying on this shield. I can't believe you would
disrespect ZywOo like that.
The disrespect is unreal.
Hey, I know you buy it, but speaking of buying and selling, we're going to transition over to the favorite segment, everybody's most beloved, buy or sell. So today we have a full docket of incredibly fun and mostly gaming this time related items. What are we kicking off with?
We're kicking it off with Shadow Drops. Over the past couple weeks here, we had the Shadow Drop of the Oblivion Remaster, which was a fantastic game from my childhood. Some of y'all may or may not have been alive when this game first came out. It's not the only one that Shadow dropped. This has been a pretty popular thing. We had Hi-Fi Rush Shadow dropped, I think it was last year.
Yep. Dragon Wins.
Dragon Wins, yeah, okay. And who can forget Apex Legends?
That's true.
Of dominant BR right now that literally just came out of left field. Yep. Is this a strategy now that companies should be doing? Is this a buy or sell on the Shadow Drops?
If the game's finished and you can play it, I'm just buying that. Like, it doesn't need to be a Shadow Drop. It could be a regular drop. Just have the thing be finished. Everything I've heard,
Dylan.
I'm buying it. For me, everything I've seen from Oblivion's been very, very cool. The only weird thing is supposedly some PC issues. We're having a little bit of issues with closing the first gate. But hey, it's a console game. Play it on console. Get how you live.
That was quick. Mine's a buy. I think Shadow Drops are cool, and I think it's definitely a way to keep player interest very high. I think the problem with a lot of games now is a game will come out, and people will be interested in it, and they'll see it. Oh, it doesn't come out till like a year and 6 months. And then they kind of forget about it. The cool thing about something like Hi-Fi Rush was it just comes out of nowhere, and you're watching the trailer, and you're like, man, this actually looks kind of cool. This concept is interesting. Download now, and then that instantly you're on it. I think that's definitely a very unique strategy. It definitely goes against the whole traditional market your thing, but I think overall it is definitely a way to get some quick sales.
I do think it's a easy way to piggyback too on like the way content and everything's being consumed. Because like right now, if you play something fun, cool, neat, or nifty, and Sinnott picks it up, or Ludwig, or whoever else picks it up and are in the beta, dude, everybody's gonna flock to that game. That's way more impactful than releasing a trailer and waiting 6 months.
That it is.
The next one we want to hop onto is, speaking of drops, Expedition 33 is out. Everybody started playing it last week. It's already being called Game of the Year as long as Grand Theft Auto 6 doesn't come out. That's the only caveat. But other than that, everybody's saying this is the highest rated game of the year so far. One of the highest rated games of all times at its current point. It's a refinement on an old style. Everybody's saying it's like the spiritual evolution of a Final Fantasy. What are your thoughts? Game of the year? You buying this talk, or you think, let's cool our jets, see what comes?
We'll just start this off with a buy. I've been playing the game. Extremely fun. The problem here for me is that I just can't get enough of it. I feel like when it's gone, I'm going to be sad. I think it is very Final Fantasy. When you play it, like you instantly feel like you're playing a Final Fantasy game.
Sure.
And I mean, obviously, coming from them, that it's no exception that it feels like Final Fantasy. But the art style, incredible. All the little explosions and all the little things with your moves, the in-depth of like all the classes and stuff is very RPG, very fun. The lore of the game is very interesting. It has a cool concept and backdrop for the world that they live in. I think that is one of the main appeals to it, because a lot of times you can have a good game, but like if your story is not that interesting or your world is very bland, it doesn't matter.
Nobody cares.
This encapsulates all of it. Sure, it's turn-based, not the most popular anymore, but things like this are what make turn-based popular again. Straight buy.
For sure. If it were about the game, I would buy it. But if this is about it being Game of the Year and already being pushed in that direction, I'm selling it. We got to see what happens. If Grand Theft Auto comes out this year, there's no chance this wins. And if it does, that is insane to me.
Hater alert.
Hate. I'm hating.
Hater alert.
I'm hating. What we got next?
All right, so let's see if you're going to be hating on this one. Larian Studios, okay, coming off of their smash Game of the Year, massive hit, Baldur's Gate 3. They said early on they're not doing anything else with Baldur's Gate 3. They did some updates this last patch, patch 8. It's the final thing they're doing with the game, no DLC or nothing, so they can work on their new game, which is not Baldur's Gate 4. Buy. Oh,
I'm buying
didn't
it.
let me finish.
No more Baldur's Gate. Move on. Do something else cool. Like, that game's fine. Who cares? Move on.
That
Make the
doesn't
next
sound like it's fine. I don't understand.
No, it's great. I mean, I think Baldur's Gate is cool. It's people's cup of tea. It's whatever. I just didn't like those games. I wouldn't play those games. So whatever they make next, I might play. They seem like a great
This guy's
studio.
not a gamer. This guy's not a gamer.
No, it's like the same thing as Expedition 33. I'm not playing a turn-based, slow D&D wannabe game.
Oh, why? Because you got to be Call of Duty arcade shooter.
No, give me Skyrim. I'd play Oblivion. Play Oblivion over here. Come on.
Oh, you're not playing Oblivion. This is a buy because, one, Baldur's Gate 3 was an amazing game. Larian Studios actually cares. They're a developer. They're not like EA. They're not like Activision.
I agree. Let them make an FPS.
They're not like Bungie. They actually care. They slow release Baldur's Gate, early access, let player feedback come in, slowly changed it and crafted it into what it is. I am sad that they're not going to be doing any DLC for Baldur's Gate 3. But this final patch is fantastic. I'm happy for them, and I'm very excited to see what they are going to do next.
Speaking of things we're excited to see, listen to this clip right here.
Yo, what's up everyone? I just want to share that today was my 4th gym day. And yeah, I'm grinding CS and grinding gym every day, so I hope you will enjoy the results.
So, Pat, Simple, the GOAT, we were talking about him earlier, is back. He's in the gym. He's grinding CS. He's coming back this year. Are you buying? We will see Simple in a server at a pro level in the year 2025.
Sam, I'm sorry, man's washed.
Whew.
Dude, he had his time in the spotlight, and boy, did he have it. It was a fun time. There's a lot of great clips and highlights you can go watch of Simple. He was a fantastic player to watch, but my man has went on to do other things and streaming and chilling and hanging out, whatever it is he's doing. I don't think he would hold a toe up to ZywOo nowadays if they got into the server together. Op v Op, ZywOo versus Simple, current day.
Number 1 in his name, number 1 in the game. We're buying it, baby, for sure. Now, the question is, I don't know what team would pick him up right now. So it's going to be hard for him to win because I think he's going to need like 3 to 6 months to be like, okay, he's still good. Let's put him on a real team. Because like right now, I don't think you're putting him on any contender. Like that kind of sucks. But I don't know. We'll see. I got faith in the man. You can't be that.
ZywOo versus Simple right now. Who's winning? It's not even a thought.
1v1, I'd still take Simple.
Still take Simple?
Yeah. He'd probably be half sauce. That's fine. I'm good with it.
Okay. All right,
What you
moving
got
on. Moving on. Battlefield. You, as a Call of Duty lover, I know you just love Battlefield.
I do.
The superior product.
It's good.
Battlefield, there were some Battlefield 6 leaks.
Yep.
Looking pretty good. Looking like some Battlefield 3 spiritual successor type deal. Looks like they're learning from their mistakes. So are we buying this new Battlefield?
I'm buying it. Battlefield, this is supposedly the spiritual successor to Battlefield 3. That's probably one of my most played games. It does have the advantage that COD comes out every year, and I played Battlefield 3 for like 5 years. So, I mean, it does have a little bit of advantage in that context. I think it's interesting. The internet is really excited about the jet noises, which I find to be a little bit unique, but I think its scale, it was always really fun. The conquest, kind of pushing of zones and taking zones made the battles feel bigger and more unique, and like it's just so different. I don't think any game ever like has competed with it in that sense. So yeah, big team buy. I'm in it.
Yeah, it's an easy buy for me as well. Big time Battlefield lover here. I think the sounds, like with the jet sounds, I think it does sound really good, and it's just the experience of the game. We talked about it earlier, like being like running through a big open field as helicopters fly over, jets come zooming by, tank comes rolling by.
65-year-old man
like,
sniping you from the ridge.
Yeah, it's like there's so much going on in here. It's like ASMR, at least to us. I don't know about the war vets though; they might want to stay away.
Might be PTSD for the Jesus. So the next thing we want to hit real quick is your favorite game. Marathon is getting into a little bit of hot water. Apparently, they're giving aim assist to mouse and keyboard. Now, I do think they said they're going to tune it down. I don't know if they said they're going to turn it off or tune it down, but I'm pretty sure they said they're going to tune it down. I like to play on controller personally, so aim assist, it's nice. I just don't think mouse and keyboard particularly need that. But hey, you buying or selling aim assist on mouse and keyboard?
I'm selling. The whole point of like playing mouse and keyboard is to show that you're a man. Playing on controller means that you are less than of a gamer. You are unequal to us gamers if you play on controller. That's just facts. I don't make the rules. It's just how it is. If you have to have help aiming, you got problems. And the fact that they're giving it to you out for free on this game just goes to show that they don't know how to balance their game around it about having controller and PC players playing together. So they're like, oh, just give them aim assist. What's funny, though, is I see that they actually even have like attachments and stuff.
Yeah.
Boost up the aim assist. What type of game are we playing? I mean, you might as well just let it aim for me and it just be about me clicking a button first, and whoever hits the button first wins the battle.
It's basically
that's the type of game they're making.
It's basically a shooter MMO.
Sale.
It's basically a shooter MMO at that point. There was a game, I'm pretty sure, Sunset Overdrive, which was a fun little game on Xbox where you could just lock on to people and shoot them. You didn't even have to aim. It's basically like that. I'm selling it too. I'm in one. First off, selling controller is far superior device, mouse, keyboard. It's how games are meant to be played. Keyboards are meant for typing. Controllers are meant for playing. Real gamer's game, not whatever he does. But I'm selling this. There's no way. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It just feels like you're just locking on to people. It feels like an MMO. Like, just tab lock to somebody. Why don't we just do that? Why don't we just like auto lock?
Might as well.
It's the same.
Speaking of people who are less than, the Nintendo Switch 2 has sold out. Are you kidding me?
You said it wasn't going to sell.
Did anybody watch the presentation, or are they all just buying it blindly?
Our presentation or their presentation?
I'm talking about theirs. Buy or sell, man. Like, do you think the Switch 2 is this a good device?
I'm personally not buying it. I think there'll probably be one in the studio because we have to, because our job requires it.
Does it?
I don't know. Maybe that's where we draw the line. I'm not personally, for me, sell. I don't understand. Not only that, I thought they did this pre-order system to where you had to have so many hours on Nintendo to be able to pre-order the console. But I think that ended up just being for Europe. In the US, it was like Target would let you get it, but then you couldn't get it in Target. Then they backed out of all the carts, and like, I don't know. It just feels like the normal, typical launch kerfuffle. Everybody's saying it's going to be the biggest Nintendo launch ever, which is insane. Did we watch the same presentation? This is going to be the biggest launch for Nintendo. I'd take the Wii over it today. Give me back Wii Sports.
Nah, for sure. I think if you are over the age of 30 years old and you are pre-ordering this Switch, you got some problems. Did you not see the price of those games? Did you not see what this system has to offer compared to its predecessor?
I'm just saying, it's like 30. It should have been 13.
It's ridiculous. Like, I think my son would enjoy this console, but it's like I couldn't buy it for him because am I not paying $90 for a first-party game?
It's Mario Kart.
For Mario Kart or for Smash or for Metroid.
I'm pretty sure it's 80 if you get the digital version.
Oh, yay, get the digital, and then I just don't even get to own anything, and I'm still paying $80.
Hey, that's Ubisoft.
It's a rob. Did I say sell again? I feel like I'm forgetting sell. Sell. It's 100% sell.
110%.
Nobody likes this console.
That is all we had for today's episode. We actually had some buys in there. That's more than normal on the buy frontier, so I'm proud of us for that personally.
Very proud.
Any exit highlights you want to call out for the next week there, Pat?
Just stay tuned for the VCT Sentinels. They're going all the way. Don't listen to this, man.
Tune into the other shows. We got a Pat on a guest appearance with one of those, and maybe he'll be back to defend his honor and represent Skill Diff well. Thank you guys for watching as always. Peace out. We'll see you in the next one.